Welcome to Hilary Topper On Air, the podcast you can't afford to miss.
Property taxes can be extraordinarily expensive, especially with Long Island's high tax rates compared to the rest of New York. While property taxes are needed to pay for services, and it's fair that the residents pay for these taxes, you should never be expected to pay more than your fair share of taxes. And if you are, what do you do? I'm Hilary Topper, and this is Hilary Topper On Air. Today, I'm really excited to talk with Jeff Gold, who is the managing partner at Gold Bennis LLP. So, Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, well, I'm an attorney in private practice in Belmore, and back in 2002, I was appointed to the Board of Assessors in Nassau County, and in that role, I became very familiar with the process of assessing property and with the reassessment process and how it goes about being performed. After about 3 years, I moved over to the Assessment Review Commission, and the Assessment Review Commission is that organization or arm of Nassau County that you file a grievance to, and you file a grievance in hopes that the Assessment Review Commission will lower your assessment, and that should result in lower taxes. For the past 15 years, I've been lecturing in Nassau County about how to grieve your tax assessment, teaching people how to do it correctly. About 3 years ago, my firm started doing tax grievances for a flat rate of $250 because we wanted people to have an alternative to the tax grievance firms that take 40 or 50% of your tax savings when you receive an assessment reduction. We learned this, we started this rather reluctantly because I started a Facebook page in Nassau County about 5 years ago called Nassau Grieve Your Tax Assessment Free. We have 24,000, almost 25,000 members. It's been growing really rapidly. And on that group, I teach people how to grieve their taxes for, their tax assessment and to do it themselves without charge and to do a really good job. But there are still some people that don't want to do it themselves. But I would urge your listeners to join Nassau Grieve Your Tax Assessment Free on Facebook and learn how to do it themselves.
Well, I am certainly going to be joining that group. But before I do, tell me a little bit about Gold Bennis. What type of law firm are you? Who do you help? And why are you guys unique?
Well, we are a typical, when I say typical, we are a Long Island law firm. We do wills. We do some estate administration. We do a lot of commercial litigation and personal injury litigation. We deal with family disputes, not divorce or matrimonial related, but usually business related. We have 12 attorneys, 5 paralegals. Busy little place.
And I know you're great at what you do. So Jeff, just in full disclosure, Jeff's helped me out on a number of occasions, and he's been wonderful. So Jeff, back to the reassessment properties. I know that the county has reassessed properties for this year. Why did that happen, and is that a good thing?
Yes, it's a good thing. And why did it happen? It happened because for the past 8 years, the county has intentionally substituted expediency for accuracy on assessments. The county pretty much gave reductions to anybody who filed a tax grievance. More than 80 to 90% in some years of the people that filed tax grievances won. The county had frozen the rolls under County Executive Ed Mangano, froze the rolls at what they were in 2008. And then, of course, homes appreciated since then. And he terminated almost all, he kept 5 appraisers in the Assessment Review Commission. So they didn't have anybody to review the grievances that were coming in. So they pretty much gave reductions on demand to the companies and the individuals that filed the tax grievances. As a result, tax grievance firms have taken, have made as much as $500 million,
Whoa.
as estimated by Newsday. Yeah, that's a lot of money to come out of people's pockets and out of the school districts.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I started the flat rate service and why I started Nassau Grieve Tax Assessment Free, so people could, challenge on their own without paying any firm. We needed to reassess. If you look at the local papers, there are people, and I always love the people who are holding up their assessment papers on the front page of Newsday or other publications, because they're always the ones who are complaining the loudest. But 3 weeks ago, there was a family in Jericho that were complaining because their taxes were going up about $5,000. Their 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath home was assessed, because they'd been grieving every year. It was now assessed at $350,000. They were assessed like a Levittown Cape, and that just wasn't right. The neighbors had sold for $1 million. Another neighbor was on the market for $900,000. They needed to be assessed at close to that level, and without reassessment, we couldn't get them there. So that house would be underassessed for 25 to 30 years if we did not do a reassessment. This had to be done.
So talk to me about what happens when a resident disagrees with the valuation of their home by the county. What actually can they do?
Okay. Well, everybody, the one thing we need to know about reassessment is we didn't break the system in a year. It's not going to fix in a year. So the county has hired a gentleman by the name of David Moog. He's a very well-known expert on assessment procedure. And, if you talk to David, he'll tell you this is a 2, 3, 4-year process. The county has put out valuations that you have a right to expect to be accurate. And by accurate, you are supposed to be assessed in New York State based upon the fair market value of your home. And Hilary, that's, just what you would think it sounds like. If you're selling your home and you want to make as much money on your home as possible, and someone wants to buy your home, they want to pay as little as possible, the two sides negotiate. And the term that they come to, whatever value that is, that's very often the fair market value of your home. Mm-hmm. So you want to be assessed on what you think you can sell your home for. That is your correct share. Obviously, the people who were in Jericho, who were assessed for $350,000 on their $1 million home, were never going to sell their house for $350,000. And because they were assessed so low, that means other people were paying their share of the tax pie. Reassessment is completely revenue neutral, meaning the county, the school districts, the town don't receive more money because they've reassessed. In fact, in the county, about 52% of the people are going to see higher tax bills, and 48% are going to see lower tax bills because of reassessment. But overall, it's a good procedure, because when 50% of the people or 60% of the people in a school district grieve every year, that takes property value out of the school district. And as a result, the school districts need to raise your rates. It's like in Merrick, Belmore, our school tax rates went up 6.2%. Mm-hmm. We only voted for a 2% increase. The other 4.2% on the typical home over $500 a year is because of the assessment debacle. So by reassessing, we fix that. Now, you, as a homeowner, you need to make sure that you're properly assessed. So the county provides you with all the information about your home, what they think you have in your home. And you can find that out at mynassauproperty.com. Let me repeat that, mynassauproperty.com. And we have all these links in the Nassau Grieve Tax Assessment free group. And if you think your property inventory is wrong, the county will correct it. They may need to send in an appraiser to look at it. You might not want that to happen, and that's something we talk about frequently in our group and when I lecture. You also want to make sure that you think you can sell your house for what the county has assessed you. And the county provides you both on mynassauproperty.com with all the sales in your neighborhood, And at nassaucountiny.gov /AROW, the county will let you check the value of your property and actually file your tax grievance. It's a very simple process. They give you the comparable sales in your neighborhood, and you can then click on those sales and see what those homes are like, and you can compare those homes to your home, and actually file your grievance. If you think there's something different with your house than the other homes, you can advise the county of that. You can upload photographs, appraisals, estimates of damage or estimates to repair damage. It's a very intuitive, easy site. And again, in my Facebook group, we walk you through it.
It's awesome. So before we move on, I just have to take a moment and really tell my sponsors that we appreciate them. And I would love it if you guys go out and support them and tell them that you heard about them on Hilary Topper On Air. Special thanks to the Russo Law Group, MetPro, Once Again Nut Butter, and Fortune Fine Jewelry. Now back to you, Jeff. Do you think that people really need a law firm to file these grievances? I mean, or is it really that easy that you can do it on your own?
Okay. Our Facebook group, well, my Facebook group has 24,000 members. And last year, 35 to 40,000 people in the county grieved on their own.
Wow.
Okay. And most of those people got reductions. It is now a situation where if you file on your own, you have as good a chance of getting a reduction as anyone who files from a law firm. And I submit even better because you know your home better. You know if there's something wrong with it, something wrong with your street, something wrong with your neighborhood that you can tell the county about. In my firm, we file an individualized grievance. We take all the information that the homeowner provides, and we look at maps when necessary, and we file a really good grievance. But not everybody who does this for a fee or does this for a percentage does that. I think individuals can file really good grievances. There's some people just afraid to, but they shouldn't be afraid to. We walk you through it. Now, about 6 years ago, some statistics came out showing that 2 particular grievance firms did better than individuals that filed on their own and other grievance firms that filed. I don't want to mention the firms. I don't know why they did better. I have some inklings of why they did better. But no firm is going to do statistically better than you, or at least they shouldn't be in an honest system. So I do encourage people to try filing on their own, certainly before they hire anybody. It's a really simple process.
So let me ask you, what's the largest grievance reduction that one of your members received?
We had a grievance filed by someone that had a new home, which were singled out for really high taxes or tax assessments under the Mangano administration. Their 18-year-old daughter did it following my instructions, and they received about a $16,000 reduction.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And the home was assessed at about was paying about 32. So they actually received about a 50% reduction on their tax assessment and on their taxes they'll pay. They were really happy. Now, the biggest reduction I ever had for one of my clients was about $14,000.
Wow.
For a family in Merrick. But again, they paid $250. They were pretty happy because if they had gone to a contingent firm, they would have paid about $7,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, really. Now, I've heard that there's a class action lawsuit that's been filed against the county claiming that the old system of assessment discriminates against minorities.
It did.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
I can. I actually, in my group, we've talked about the potential of such a suit for 3 years. It was really clear based on some of the reporting that Newsday had done that for whatever reason, minority communities in Nassau County grieved at a lower percentage than non-minority communities. And, you know, for example, Belmore Merrick, we were seeing 70 to 75% of every home being grieved every year. And in contrast, we were seeing in some of the minority communities, it was under 50%. Now, while everybody has the same right to grieve, the message just wasn't getting out. Maybe it was language issues, maybe it was mail issues, don't know. The message wasn't getting out. So in these communities where, fewer families were grieving because of, and the system was rigged to give reductions to pretty much everybody that grieved, they ended up, not only did the people who didn't grieve pay a higher percentage of their school tax in their community, they were paying a larger percentage of the county tax. Now, it's a technical issue, but a government program doesn't have to intentionally discriminate in order to be actionable under the law. It just has to have a disparate impact. And that's been proven, that's fairly clear that it doesn't. The Mangano tax freeze and grievance on demand program did in fact create such a situation that had an adverse impact on minority communities. But it didn't only have minority communities. It also adversely had an adverse impact on seniors, on new homeowners, and the program where they gave larger reductions to certain grievance firms, that discriminated against everybody. So I suspect that the classes are going to be growing larger, and it's going to be a much bigger lawsuit than it currently is now. I've read the lawsuit papers. The county's dead. The county will ultimately lose the suit. And I don't know what the result of that will be. It probably will have to bond the settlement. It will probably have to enter into a program where it guarantees that it will not freeze the assessments or create an unfair assessment practice or program for the next 20 years. The goal is to get these roles correct. The phase, you've heard a lot about a phase-in. Have you heard about the phase? Okay, the county executive, and she's doing the right thing, has gone to the state to try and get a phase-in of increases, because there are people who are going to see huge increases. They're not huge. There's not a lot of huge. There's a lot of increases. But, for some families and many families, $1,000 to $2,000 is a huge increase.
Absolutely. Okay.
So what the county executive did is let's phase this in gradually over 5 years. So they'll see a $400 and $8 a week increase for each of the next 5 years. And that strikes everybody as being inherently fair. The problem is, if somebody is paying less than their share because it's phasing in, then other people are paying more than their share because they're supposed to get a reduction, and they won't see that reduction for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So then how would you like to be paying, not having filed a grievance and being paid, paying $4,000 or more, for the next 5 years because of the phase-in? You wouldn't. Nope. And there are a lot of people in that situation. There's a house in Belmore that I'm aware of where the house at one time was a showcase and was assessed at $1.8 million, and probably would have sold for that in the peak of the market. The house became a little run down. It became bank owned, and they ended up bringing the price down on the house to about $800,000. The reason they had to do that is the taxes went up to $54,000. On reassessment, that house is being correctly assessed for some, where it's going to pay taxes of around $32,000. That house is going to pay $50,000 to $60,000 more because of the phase-in process. Strikes me as very unfair. Fortunately, not my house, but on a that's an extreme situation. But for some families, they could really use the $2,000 tax reduction that they would see as a result of reassessment. And Absolutely. They have to wait 4 years for it, 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, Jeff, how can people get in touch with you and your firm, Gold Bennis LLP?
Okay. Well, they can always write me a letter. No, people don't write letters anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
No. The easiest way is to dial 516-512-6333, 516-512-6333. I have 4 paralegals who take calls. They do other things too with respect to the grievance matters. They'll take all your information, your credit card information, and ask you questions about the house, and we will file the grievance with you for you. You have until April 30th to do that. So actually, we're only going to take clients through April 15th. We want to be able to spend time filing the grievances and doing them correctly and double checking them. But if you do it on your own, have until April 30th. If you have questions about reassessment or assessment or about your house, the easiest thing to do is to join the Facebook group, Nassau Grieve Your Tax Assessment Free, and post the question on the board. Not only will I help you, but others will help you too. We have a really great group.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was an amazing show, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank our sponsors, the Russo Law Group, once again, Nut Butter, MetPro, and Fortune Fine Jewelry. And last but not least, I want to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. If you want more information on this show or any other show, visit our website at hilarytopperonair.com, or you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, you name it, we're out there. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.